Welcome to Feisty Chess. It's been a while. I'm going to play a 10-5 game against Malak25 on Lee Chess. D4 and knight f6. Okay, c4. Let's see, I can do the Budapest. I can go for the Benoni. I can try the King's Indian. I haven't played a King's Indian in a long time. Let's do this. We'll get the bishop to g7. We'll play d6. Bishop g7, and now e4 is putting us squarely in King's Indian territory. Okay. I could transfer to a Grunfeld here, but I'm sticking with the King's Indian. Allowing e4. He's not going to play it. Let's just get castled. Okay, stopping any bishop g4 ideas. Okay, I don't think I have e5 here, unlike in the e4 lines. c5 could lead us to a queenless middle game. There's knight to d7 or knight to c6. I'm not afraid of a queenless middle game. Let's go for this. I'm playing some blitz lately. 5-3, 3-2. 3-2 is about as fast as I'll play. I don't like playing without an increment. Huh, okay. A waiting move. Maybe this bishop wants to come to b7. Let's, b6 also allows us to recapture with the b pawn. Okay, he's encouraging me to take here. I think I'll just put my knight on d7. Yeah, then I can recapture with the knight the second time. So I'll plan on recapturing with the b pawn and then with the knight. This doesn't let his bishop out quite so easily either. Okay, play my bishop here. Now you can go into a closed center with d5. I like the foothold I have in the center. I've got a development advantage, actually, as black here. That doesn't matter so much when the center's closed. But if we can try to open it up... b5 is a pawn sack. No, b5 is no good. I can't play e6 yet, unless I want to sacrifice a pawn. Okay. The plan I like looks strange here. I want to get knight to e5 in. So first I need to put a bishop on that. I don't want to recapture with this pawn here. If I recapture with the pawn, he can play e5, and both my bishops are shut down, actually. e4. So looking back here, if I had just played here, he takes, I recapture, and then after e4, yeah, my bishops are completely shut down. So instead, I'm going to open up that bishop at the expense of this knight. But this knight actually might come to c7 and be useful there. This also allows me to play f5 and then maybe put the knight back on f6. So it's a flexible plan. I might like the f5, f4 plan better. I have to be careful though. That gives, if I play f5, that gives white this idea of knight g5, and then the knight comes in at e6, which looks very unpleasant. I could prepare that with h6 and maybe even king h7 before I go for f5. I've got time. The center's closed. I'm not in a huge hurry. He could try to play something like g4. He hasn't castled yet, so that's really key. I don't want to push too many pawns on the king side. Especially if I'm not certain if white's going to castle queenside. Oh man, it's my move. I missed queen here. Okay, well, at least I've done some thinking in the meantime. I could actually get e5 or e6 in. e5 and e4. But now with e4 I have f5 to break that down. Also this idea of knight here, just to trade off some pieces. Looks pretty good. I'll stick with that. The knight wasn't doing much on e7 now. d7. All right, let's see if I can notice when my opponent makes a move. Okay, duly noted. He's got his queen on that diagonal. I'm not sure what the right plan is. Let's take off this knight, and then maybe f5 looks good. Then we don't have to worry about knight coming to g5. e6 maybe? Let's try e6. Maybe we can open up the f file for our rook without playing f5. If he takes here, I take the bishop. He takes, I take with the rook, and then once he recaptures the bishop, I can grab this pawn. And I like the looks of that position. Here's what I'm looking at. Takes, take with check, take the rook. I'm down a pawn, but then takes here, and then I take back with the rook. Not what white went for. Still, this looks good if I go knight c7. Why not? Better, it's better than e8, right? Looking like almost like a Benoni structure here. That's what happens when you play c5. I might even go e5 at some point, and then get f5 in. Okay, what's the idea here? All right, I'm going to try this. This is more like a King's Indian. Now I definitely have my share of the center. My bishops are kind of blocked out, but actually this bishop can come back here at some point. And I can even wait till I get my rook in the game to do that, and I could have a King's Indian style attack with f4, f5, f4. Wish I hadn't spent all that time. Happens to me a lot. I think my opponent is on the clock and I'm on the clock. Kind of embarrassing. Okay, so my bishops are kind of shut down, but so are his. I might actually get with this maneuver before I play f5 even. Where's the queen want to be? e7? And then bring this rook over here, then bishop back to c8. Where's my knight want to be? Maybe I play f5 and then knight back here, back to f6. It's laborious, but I've got time. The center's closed. White probably needs to make something go on the queen side. Let's just connect rooks. Not seeing a plan for white here, so get that queen, get our plan in action. f5 or rook, I don't know, rook d8. Maybe the rook can stay on a8. That's maybe a little too slow. Can play e4 here, and he probably should, and I'm thinking I should have played f5 just so I can meet e4 with f4, that push. Okay, this is perfect. I'm getting f4 in with tempo. Okay, he wants his bishop to be there. Now he can play f4, but I can play it first. So yeah, we're getting a real King's Indian here. Usually in the better King's Indians you get a couple knights over here on the king side, but I can at least get one over here via a route like this. Something like that. Sacrificial ideas. King's Indians are fun. It's taken us a while to get here, but the idea of a kingside attack, I really like this idea of getting a rook in too. He might go for f3. Let's put our rook here so the knight can use e8 as a jumping point. I don't think I'm worried about the a2 pawn. This will allow the rook to kind of get in here. Okay, he's blocking with the bishop. I like where this is headed, and I like that I have a plan to make moves quickly. Closed positions often allow you to do that. I think I want to get g5 in first before playing knight up. Prevents, I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter, but maybe my queen wants to come up before I get my knight up there. Is the queen going to look good on h4? I think she will. First we'll move this bishop. That's our next order of business. We're just going to make that move quickly. Put a little extra time on the clock. And now white always has to beware of these sacrifices on h3. I like this position. White doesn't seem to have much on the king side. Okay, he's planning on opening the B file. And I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm fine with that. The queen stays here, she'll guard this pawn. My plan is to push this and open up the king here. Might even play king h1 just to allow rooks to get on the h file, on the b, g file. Okay. Start with the pushing. White really has no threats. My queen covers a2, a7. Well, I can just gain a tempo over here, right? Kick the knight. My bishop covers all sorts of stuff. Now, should I go for h4, h5? I think I will. I might actually play king f7, and then my rooks can go to both of those files, one of which I'll have to open up here. This is the King's Indian. If b5, I can always just go a5, and there's nothing on the queen side, and white just has to try to survive on the king side. King's Indian is all about which way your pawns are pointing. Let's just... No, we're not going to prepare. We're going to push. We'll have time for king f7 later. He's got to take, or I just grab with the bishop and everything. Yeah, let's open up that h file. And now I'm thinking sacking a pawn here. Let's go with this plan. We're going to get a rook over here. I've got that covered twice already. Let's get the rook over. Looking for the easiest way to get my queen over there. It's not so easy. If I move the knight, he can grab on g5. And then my queen can come, my queen here, he can drop his bishop back here. I can just grab that with the bishop then, huh? I think that looks good, but where's the knight want to go? It's got to go someplace really awkward, doesn't it? I think my next move might just be rook here. I'm not sure what that move does. He really needed to open this b file and get some action going on the queen side. Try to invade on the queen side. That's how white needs to play in these King's Indian type structures. Do I care about that pawn? Well, I can do this. Man, queen's coming to h4, so... Oh, that does allow this, doesn't it? Okay, well, it's a pawn sacrifice. I got to imagine I'm still winning, though. Queen h5, bishop back, and then the knight comes back to h6. Sorry, f6. Did I do that wrong? Okay. Okay, I like this. If bishop comes back, then the knight comes in, and now the bishop is hitting his bishop. Not sure. He can't go queen over because now I have this. And this looks good for me. Does it not? I mean, I'm down a pawn, but I'm hitting his queen. Bishop f6 seems to make sense. Yeah, bishop f6 looks really good. I'll give up this pawn because I'm going for mate. Probably he'll take here. And if he does, when I recapture, I'm going to be on the knight, which is undefended. All right. Well, he's giving up a bishop here. Let's take it. Everything's defended. If we trade queens, that makes it even easier for me. Okay, I'm up a piece for a pawn. His king wants to move, but he's going to have to give up that pawn to do it. And I'm threatening maybe just rook g8, rook h to g8 here. Let's just double up. Let's get on that 7th rank. Let's get our bishop on g3. Why not? And I might just swing my king around to c7 so I can move my knight, and then my bishop will be much better. No hurry here. Oh, okay. Well, the knight is now free. Didn't think about where he should be going, but okay, I should be able to win this pawn here. Since it's pinned, I can play bishop h3. Maybe rook g1 was a little better. Let's trade off this bad bishop. Fine with me. I got rook g8 coming. And he can't defend that pawn again. And actually, that's going to come with a skewer on that bishop on b2. Cross the 2nd rank. Right there. Not a problem. Actually, I would have forced the skewer there. Okay, now he's getting out of it. But still, I win this pawn. We gotta take it. Take with check. Ooh, he's getting skewered. He's got that rook defended at least, but I can take it off by force. He can't go here. He has to go here. There's a discovery, and if he goes to f1, I would have had rook here, check, and winning that bishop. Now let's just take off the rooks. Trade pieces. Leave his bishop in the corner. And stick his king with the defense of that pawn. Bring a knight in. This could be tricky. Where's my knight going? I need a plan here. My knight has no future. Well, no, it actually does. Because I can play it to f1 and then to e3. That looks about as good as a knight can get. We can just defend that, no problem. Yeah, you can't defend c4 now. I could actually leave the knight on f3 and get my bishop through there and get it on c4. I might do that, except if he plays a bishop here. Okay. Let's get the bishop in the game. It will be capturing the c4 pawn. Maybe getting a little too fancy here. Yeah, he's threatening to remove the defender. Okay. Now this should be pretty simple. I'm planning bishop here. Grab that pawn on the light square. He can take the pawns off if he wants. I want to keep him on the board for winning chances. No rush. We're just going to make sure our pawns are defended. So once he gets king c5 in, king c4, I mean. He can't defend that pawn either. Sad day. He can go for this one, but I'll just push. And now I'm queening. No, let's just... There's no reason not to take. That's not a pawn I want to get stuck with. Okay. I'll march these outside pawns. We'll give that one up. There's no stalemate here. Oh, and there's an easy mate. Okay. Thanks for the game. Malak 25. So that was a really actually instructive King's Indian. Very common King's Indian patterns here. King's Indian defense. So usually white will go e4 in the King's Indian. I mean, that's just an obvious move. That's why you play knight c3, so you can play e4 and have this monster center. White played kind of unambitiously here. So yeah, I just kept things logical, and once the center got closed, it becomes a game of strategy, maneuvering, long-term plans, and I was able to carry through mine, trading off this pair of knights. This bishop, just not, it says bad bishop. It's fine, it's fine. I wonder if he takes here, let's do the analysis board. If takes, this is a line I takes, and then when he recaptures, I gain my extra pawn, and this has got to be just really good. Oh no! Oh, that's no, I can't do that yet. Look at this. This I didn't see. I probably would have seen it before making that move, but that, oh no. My rook is defended in the corner, so I'll be okay here. I just need to move this rook one more time. Maybe this isn't so good for white. For black, I mean. I gotta remove this rook, and I got this weak pawn here. White will be able to castle queenside, looking pretty safe. I can open up the queenside, I think, easier than white can open up the kingside, but yeah, definitely a game. Definitely a game here. I didn't go for that, and yeah, knight c7 was probably inaccurate if I was going for this plan of e4, e5 and f5. Yeah, that just allowed me to play that with a gain of time. And now he goes for e4. That just seems wrong. Now black's got his ideal attacking setup. This pawn on f4. And I took my time here. A lot of times in the King's Indian, you haven't played bishop here, it just sits here, so the rook is stuck on a1 in the corner. But it's actually a very effective piece, and it's often a sacrificial piece on, say, h3 or g4 sometimes. So I just thought I would take my time and get that set up, and because I know how to play these positions pretty well. Yeah, and a lot of white's moves just allowed me to gain some time. Again, time wasn't the most important thing here in a closed position, but now that the attack is coming, it is actually important. Yeah, I'm happy with how this went. Yeah, okay, let's turn on the computer here. I think giving this pawn up is just fine. Rook h7, just planning to double rooks. That slow plan is enough. With that bishop on e7, that is a big problem for black. Rook h7, let's see what the lines give. What about knight takes here? Yeah, just double. We're threatening mate, you can't take the bishop. Queen h3 is the only way to prevent the mate now. You do this, I go here. And because you have this bishop here, you can't run over with king f1. You're just going to get mated on the back rank. So that was simple. I actually probably should have done that here. Just double those rooks immediately, but I played this rook to the g file. I was pretty low on time. Okay, it doesn't like black as much here, but still. Ooh, bishop e6 check. I didn't see that skewer. But he can't win the rook because I'm threatening this mate. So let's see, bishop e6 check just gets him out. It gives him a turn to have his queen come here, I suppose. And then I do have to take. G takes h3, and I've got no useful discoveries with this bishop. f3, huh? f3. I'd probably move this rook, right? Then I don't have any checks, but f3 is a strange one. Well, anyway, getting pretty far afield. Yeah, so just double those rooks. Slow but effective threat, because these pawns allow me to keep that back rank threat. Whichever one he tries to move up, I just push the other one. So f3 is met by g3, and g3 is met by f3. Queen g5. Still likes bishop e6, check. Yeah, I missed that the whole time. Yeah, that was pretty poor play by black. I didn't play all that well myself, although this was a thematic attack, so that's kind of fun. And here's just execution. Just trade off all the pieces you can until white runs out of pieces, basically. I could have left this bishop here, but I wanted to pull the king over to the king side. I didn't want to worry about a king coming down here invading. I mean, I could always counter with my king, I suppose, but the idea was to pull the king over, and now, yeah. There we go. All right. Thank you for watching. An instructive game. Could have played better. Simple plan of doubling rooks. When you get two pawns on the 5th rank like that, that's a very powerful mating threat. So good lesson. That's the lesson I'm going to take from this game. Hope you can take that and maybe some other lessons too. Stay feisty, folks. We'll see you next time.